Hello everyone, welcome back to another high quality YouTube video to entertain you for the next minute and 50 seconds or 2 minutes or 3 minutes or however long this is going to go on for. But today we'll talk about Beggars Banquet by the Rolling Stones, released December 6, 1968. And this record's awesome, often referred to as kind of a return to their bluesy rock kind of sound, because the previous albums, Between the Buttons and definitely their Satanic Majesty's Request, they were kind of getting away from that and going more into the psychedelic stuff, and this kind of got away from their original purpose of being kind of a blues rock band. And this record's always considered kind of a return to normal, or just, back to what they started, but it's actually quite different. It's kind of interesting saying that, because it opens with Sympathy for the Devil, which, over 6 minutes long. And it's one of their classic songs, but it's interesting that coming off of those previous two albums, they open the album with a song that's really, it's kind of hard to describe, because it's like rock, but it's kind of not really rock. It's not really psychedelic. It's not really country. It's kind of like a very individualistic song, and I guess that's why it's stuck around forever, been such a classic, because it's really kind of hard to, like, well, what would you call that? So when you start this album out, you're like, okay, this is a bit different. Is this going to be a psychedelic album, or is this going to be, one of those albums with a lot of exploration? But they get right back into it. The next song, No Expectations, you can really see the country influence coming in, and I know Keith and Mick, they're both really getting into country at this time. This is just a nice, no drums, kind of slower country too, and the guitars are really good. And I believe Keith is doing most of the guitars on all the album, because Brian Jones was kind of not really too involved, besides doing a few instrumentations on this record. So it was mostly Keith handling that, and he's really good. And another song, Dear Doctor, like another song I would just call a pure country tune. So there's like, one song that opens up the album's kind of a different, and then the next two are country. Then you go to Parachute Woman, which is like a straightforward blues song, another pretty good. And Jigsaw Puzzle's a bit on the long side, over 6 minutes. Kind of reminds me of Let It Bleed a little bit, just kind of that bluesy sort of rock song, kind of mid-tempo. Then you go over to Street Fighting Man, which is, one of their classic tunes. Like on this record, Sympathy for the Devil, Street Fighting Man are kind of, concert staples that still get played today, all these years later. And that's just a great, just solid rock tune. Prodigal Son, the next one, is another country blues rock. Pretty cool. Stray Cat Blues, probably my favorite song on the record. Just like a rockin' blues, cool song. And they haven't played that live, I don't think, in like quite a while, but they used to play it back in the day, as they would say. Then you go to Factory Girl, which I still think they play once in a while. That's kind of reminds me of sort of like an Irish kind of song, with like the beat and the way the instrumentation is. And then probably another one of my favorite songs on the record is Salt of the Earth. And it's just that kind of countryish, another sort of countryish kind of song. And if you've seen the version on the Steel Wheels tour with Axl Rose and Izzy Stradlin from Guns N' Roses, I thought they did a great version of this tune. It sounded really cool. So overall, this record, I'd say it definitely leans more country than anything else, followed by a little blues and a little rock. And however you would categorize Sympathy for the Devil, I'm not really sure what you would call that. Maybe you might have a name to what to call that kind of song. But all in all, it's definitely, to me, more preferable than the albums that kind of came before it, like their Satanic Majesty's Request. I think it's kind of cool, but it's, maybe a little too psychedelic for me. And Between the Buttons is all right, but it seemed like this one, they were starting to get kind of like setting the pace for what was going to come in the next few years. And they're kind of in the, shortly after here, Brian Jones is gone and Mick Taylor comes in, and they release that string of albums with Mick Taylor, which I really think are maybe for kind of the highlight of their career, although I do like the stuff they did with Ron Wood and that they do today. But that string of albums there has like a lot of their really classic, just rocking, bluesy tunes, and this album's kind of foreshadows that Well, anyways, I hope you're having a great day, and we will see you next time. Oh, this lasted over 5 minutes. That's 5 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Well, anyways, I appreciate you being here, and we will see you next time.